Punxsutawney, it's the biggest town, at the heart as big as any town, as any small town in the USA, and every single something. Oh, crap.
What's going on here?
Punxsutawney on Groundhog Day.
I got you, babe.
No, oh yeah.
Oh, okay,
yeah,
campers.
Wait, then put your
little hand in mine. There ain't no hill or mountain we can't climb. What's going on here, babe? I got you, babe. I got you, babe. Okay, campers, rise and shine. Don't forget your booties because it's cold out there today.
Cold out there every day. Was this Miami Beach?
Not hardly, because it's hazardous travel later today. What with that blizzard thing?
That blizzard thing. Well, yes, I got the National News Report right here, and it says that there's a big blizzard thing coming.
Yes, it does, and you know what today makes today especially exciting?
Especially cold.
Yes, especially cold is the question on everybody's lips.
They're chapped lips.
Yes, they're chapped lips. Will Phil come out and see his shadow?
Punxsutawney Phil.
That's right, woodchuck chuckers. It's Groundhog Day. Wee.
Shake the hog out there. That's
your Come line. On and shake your hog out there.
Yeah, that's the last line before the recording stops.
I'm like, why are you pointing and whispering? You threw me off by singing a different song. That should have been the outro.
We should remember like the musical version of the song because they couldn't get the rights to Sonny and Cher, so it's like it sounds like a 50s song. It's like every night, and then it's like a man and a woman, the announcers, eh?
Yeah, it's a man and a woman. So everybody, this is the 33rd watch of Groundhog Day, and this is the Groundcast Day podcast.
This is the Jesus Age episode.
Yeah, we're Groundcast Day podcast about Groundhog.
Stay cold in a Groundhog Day podcast. Yep.
And
you probably are listening to this if you're ever listening to it at all. Maybe a little late because I don't think I've even uploaded the last episode yet.
I know. I've been feeling like we've been off.
I
uploaded
like 2 episodes ago, and then like I just got like last week's because we were like we're not doing it on Saturday, and then we're doing it during the middle of the week because there was a heat wave here.
Yeah, there's a heat wave, so we've been doing it like in the middle of the week.
Here in River City, we have a big heat wave, and we don't want to sit in Randy's little hot box.
But as you know, climate change doesn't exist.
Nope.
So today is
worldwide conspiracy
Wednesday, July 24th. Hey everybody, it's Wednesday.
Yeah.
Trump is still in office.
He's still in office.
It's reasonably warm outside, but not overly so, and very humid.
Yeah, and he says there's no such thing as climate change. So, you know what? Who are you going to trust? All the scientists in the world or an ex-game show host, huh?
Yes. So, do you want to lead off with what I'm lovingly referring to as Bobby's Groundhog Day shitposting?
All right.
Oh, I'm just going to read verbatim from our Discord. As the machine goes through countless iterations, it begins to break down. At first, Phil asks Nancy to slap him, and she does. Then Gus asks him if he wants one on the other cheek soon. Phil is going on a date with Buster, who begins to choke. The piano teacher comes in and gives him the Heimlich maneuver. Larry emerges from a stump and tells the old lady he sees his shadow. The groundhog who is filming turns to Phil and tells him to watch out for your shadow there, pal.
Yeah, so I had this idea that, like, because we were talking about how the Groundhog Day is inside of, like, a big machine, like, a ghost in the machine, if you will, a divine machine. Or maybe Phil's a ghost in the machine.
Well, if you want to get philosophical about it, aren't we all in a divine machine only if there is the existence of a higher power?
Mm-hmm. But because it's a giant Rube Goldberg machine, I was thinking, like, what if every time the time loop begins, like, what if it starts to corrupt? It's kind of the inverse idea of, like, that was abandoned in that Happy Death Day where the girl starts to, like, incur damage or accrue damage. I was like, what if the world itself, like, the clock itself that's running it, like, starts fucking up? And, like, I was thinking of, like, in our video game, like, version of it, like,
I was thinking about it for the tabletop RPG version.
If the game glitched out, like, you know when sometimes old games would glitch out, and you'd get, like, wacky stuff happening that, like, somebody getting stuck in a wall or in midair.
Gonna spoil something for you.
So my idea was, like, Glitchcast Day, where, like, the machine fucks up and it starts putting the wrong people in the wrong places.
No, now I'm just imagining us doing like shit posting, like Simpsons shit posting, but all with like Groundhog Day. Like it's like the scene from The Great Pumpkin, and it's like Linus and Linus. No, it's gonna be Larry. It's gonna be Larry and it's gonna be Phil and Rita, and then out from the Pumpkin Patch Pops, Punxsutawney Phil, and yeah,
we're the only two guys making these memes and consuming them too. It's like all that effort for nothing.
It's like. No, we were in on this before it got big.
It's probably gonna be one of those things where it's like 10 years from now, somebody on Reddit will be like, check out this, some guys made this Groundhog Day podcast like 10 years ago.
Oh, you can only dream. It's no, what you're gonna get is a random Reddit post. Hey guys, it's like I remember listening to this podcast like 20 years ago. I think it might have been on YouTube, but I haven't been able to find any clips of it or anything like that. And it was two guys talking about Groundhog Day for 52 weeks.
Tip of my tongue.
They were slowly going crazy, but I'm not sure.
Or tip of my tongue, it's called.
I don't know what it's called.
People's looking for stuff, and then there's like somebody's gonna be like, I know the guy. Then they PM me on Reddit, and then it shows my computer. Like it shows my computer screen, and then like it pans out, and I'm just like laying my skeleton.
You mean you from your old folks' home that you're gonna be in because you're 30?
No, I was gonna say the camera pans out, and my skeleton is just laying over the keyboard, dead for years.
And on your screen on repeat, Groundhog Day, just over and over and over.
I was gonna say the He-Man.
Yeah, but that's not as relevant to the conversation.
What I would die to, though.
Yeah, probably would.
So be. Yeah, I don't know. For some reason, I was just getting, because I didn't post it on the internet because I was just thinking of it today. But like for some reason, I got this idea that of remixing all the scenes.
Oh yeah, that's where I was going.
So that instead of Gus and Ralph, Phil goes on a girls' night out with Nancy and Rita.
It's like I said, I'm still trying to, like I said, because we jokingly say or seriously say that, oh no, it's like Bobby's gonna run an RPG of this with at the end of this tabletop, and I'm gonna run something at the end of this too. And in my head, I'm like, well, there's the whole entire Mandela effect that we were experiencing when watching it together, where things were different, and we're like, okay, I'm gonna roll that into good Phil, bad Phil, and how bad is things deviating?
Deja vu. Remind me to said that.
Huh?
Remind me to bring up deja vu.
Bring up deja vu.
Oh, well, right now? Okay.
Sure, I don't care. I was just giving you a spoiler on that.
Sorry, I was just gonna say that was another thing I think I just noticed is on day, I think it was 2, when Phil, I should know this by now, but when Phil is wakes up, he asks Mrs. Lancaster, he's like, do you ever experience deja vu? And she goes like,
it's the second day, yeah.
She's like, what is, she's like, I don't know, but I think that's in the kitchen.
I don't,
whatever.
Yeah.
But then later, when Phil is on the date with Rita, the Safe Scum date, I think it's right after he says, no white chocolate in the chocolate shop, and she's like, wow, I'm getting such a feeling of deja vu right now. And that leads me to believe, is Rita retaining emotional memories, if not actual intellectual memories? She's remembering the feeling of doing things over and over without actually knowing that, without having the retained knowledge.
For all you know, Bobby, actual deja vu
again, she is an angel.
In your real life, for actual deja vu in the real world, could just simply be that there's a theory about the universe.
Somebody is out there. Somebody's experiencing Groundhog Day right now.
That the theory of the universe
is
that time is a closed circle. That the universe begins, everything happens as it's going to happen, it ends, and then it repeats. So the idea of deja vu is that we're starting to notice that the universe is just one big long Groundhog Day.
How does that? I don't understand how that works.
It goes down to the idea that fate is predetermined and that we're all just one big cog in a machine. But that's the idea of what deja vu is some people feel deja vu is. So in the sense of Groundhog Day, if they went on this date multiple times and he's just got to this point oh yeah, no white chocolate, and she goes, oh, I'm getting such a strong feeling of deja vu. Maybe this is the one thing he's been having trouble getting out over this loop in. Or is it pre deja vu because the white chocolate line is only brought up after he has the bad date with her with the no white chocolate, no fudge. Wait, are you making a list about me?
Which we already established makes no sense because that should have been several days later
it's
for
a continuity error, yeah. So it's is she having pre-deja vu?
And again, I want to ask, why the hell did Phil abandon? What did Phil do on the first day when he says, I'll have whatever. Oh, fuck. Scotch on the rocks, ice. What's his drink? Hurry, Randy. Trivia. What's Phil's drink? Scotch, water, ice.
Yeah, that's it.
And she's like, and for you, Myth. And then the bartender says, and then she's like, I'll have a sweet vermouth. Fuck, with a twist.
Sweet vermouth with a twist.
On the rocks.
No, it's a sweet vermouth with a twist.
Sweet vermouth with a twist. I thought it was on the rocks with a twist.
I have it in my player right now. I could pause it.
All right, we'll have to do it afterwards because I know she says on the rocks with a twist.
Do you want me just to pause it? It'll take 5 seconds. 1 second. Be right back, folks. And we're back.
And we're back from verifying game number 2, and we do in fact have a winner. Thank you.
And
No.
and a loser because we were both wrong. It wasn't Scotch on the rocks. It was Jim Beam on the rocks.
It was Jim Beam water, ice water.
Oh yeah,
but
Jim Beam ice water.
But I was talking about the Rita one, and it is sweet vermouth on the rocks with a twist. Sweet vermouth on the rocks with a twist. I knew sweet vermouth with a twist is too short. It's not right. She says sweet vermouth on the rocks with a twist, please. And then of course we just look at Phil going. Looking up in the air, and then it cuts away. So
but
we
that's
always
because
said,
he's pulling the gun out.
and we always said, "Yeah, what is he doing? He's just going, all right, bang!" Shoots himself in the head, or he's just getting up and going, "All right, bye," and he walks away.
He just has a gun, and on the side of it, he has a Sharpie. He says "reset."
It
bam!
makes no sense because it's like he could have mined so much more info from that day.
But I told you that we've had this conversation before.
I know we have. Are you saying there's repetition in this podcast sometimes?
Side effects may include repetition.
Are you saying there's repetition in this podcast sometimes?
Oh boy, is there ever! But from the previous conversation, I told you it's like no, he doesn't waste it all, but he also knows that he can't get any further in the date.
Yes, he could have. It's not a kill. That's not a deal breaker.
No, he wants the perfect date.
To me, the only time he ever made a deal breaker is when she says
when he gets rapey.
No, the first time he ever makes a deal breaker when she says, "Believe it or not, I used to study 19th century French poetry."
Yeah.
What a waste of time. For somebody else, I mean, but not.
But no,
for you.
I think he minds some information, but then I don't think he tries to push much further because he wants.
So he got up and walked away and just said,
No, I think they had a conversation, had the drink. Maybe that's.
But then, how come he didn't know what she toasts to, Randy? How come he didn't know what she toasts to?
Because they didn't toast together. Because she may have just done it on her own in her head, okay? Because they didn't toast. But because you also got to remember, at some point he gets that information about. It reminds me of Grease. I've already forgotten the line. My brain is blocking out this movie.
What?
You know, the infamous deleted scene that we can't find with the explaining why it reminds her of Greece.
Reminds me of no, Randy. Greece.
I don't know where Greece is.
It
coming
always
from.
reminds me of Rome. At sunset, and it was like how the sun hits the buildings at sunset.
Yeah. Greeks, Romans, same difference.
Yeah. Well, I guess the Romans spoke Greek at a certain point in time, but And then, of course, there was another thing you missed last week, or I don't know if it was last week or 2 weeks ago, but when talking about religious references, and it is when...
2 weeks ago.
When she says, I like to say a prayer.
Yeah, I
didn't
think
say a little
that.
prayer for world peace. And then like, the next iteration, she's like, what should we toast to? And then Phil says, I like to say a little prayer for world peace. And he's like, he pauses for a minute, he's like, I'm in. And that's when the bartender looks back and just shakes his head. So that's, again,
like
bartender showing a little more knowledge there than he
no
should
book
have.
I'm trying to hold out on. I have to do some additional research.
Do it.
But the God, no, I'm not going to go step by
okay.
step because I actually want to discuss things afterwards. But I was going to say that the other ones I was keeping track of, I'm only keeping track of in my head. I wasn't writing it down. Like, okay, how many times was this mentioned? I was like, this was literally a... Bobby, there's pages of me writing down lines from the movie and writing stuff in here just about it.
Well.
But I can give you... Let's see... So, I'll give you one little tidbit from here that has nothing to do with the numerology. Is that in Buster's speech, right, about the groundhog, he foreshadows the events of the film.
Please tell me.
Let me dig up the speech.
On hand?
Yeah, I didn't find the exact quote, but we were just doing it right now. It's like on February 2nd.
Yeah. Punxsutawney Phil emerged
reluctantly
but alertly from his hole and stated in
Groundhog
Groundhogese, I definitely see my shadow. Sorry, folks, 6 more weeks of winter.
Yeah.
Hey,
Pretty much.
Do you think, and how does that predict the freaking movie?
That's why I was trying to find the whole speech because there's something that's missing when we were saying it. There's a preamble or after that.
Well, he comes at...
Yeah.
Even though we have the movie in front of us.
Oh, let me go start the movie again.
I guess we gotta go look at it again. And we're back again.
We went to the tapes and I remembered what I was going to say. So let's re-say that speech again. Okay. On February 2nd, Punxsutawney TA.
At 7:20 a.m.
and 20 seconds.
Wait.
Punxsutawney Phil.
7:20 a.m.
7:20 a.m.
And 20 seconds?
No, it's
we just watched it. Are we
yeah. We're messing up. But that's not the important part.
7:20 a.m.
The timing is not important right now. Punxsutawney Phil, the prognosticator of prognosticator, Seer of Seers, has emerged reluctantly but alertly.
In Punxsutawney,
No,
PA.
that's the beginning of that.
Nope, he says it after. I just watched it.
Okay. I'll go back to the tape.
All right,
I'll put it on again. Be right back. And we're back again.
Okay, we're back again.
So
it's this February
2nd at 7:20 and 30 seconds. Punxsutawney Phil emerged reluctantly. No, it's Punxsutawney Phil. Seer of seers, prognosticators of prognosticators, emerged reluctantly but alertly in Punxsutawney, PA, and stated in Groundhog Ease, I definitely see a shadow.
Sorry, folks. 6 more weeks of winter. Boo.
Oh, boo. So, at the end, this whole entire thing, let's break this down.
All right.
So, Punxsutawney Phil is Phil Connors. Emerges reluctantly, but he's the seer of seers, prognosticators.
Because he's seen it all before.
Because he's a weatherman, so he predicts the weather, and because he's going to live
and because
February
he's a god,
2nd
because he
over
saw
and over again.
Over.
So he's going to have seen everything over and over again. So he's going to know everything that happens. So he is the seer of seers. He is the prognosticators of prognosticators because he knows everything that's going to happen within this 24-hour period.
That's right. At least
so we broke down that line
there.
Area. So that's Phil Connors. Has emerged reluctantly but alertly.
What do you think was on the news at this time?
Well, let me finish my thought here so we can get out of this thing.
Out of this loop.
You want me to pause until we watch the thing again? So this is in reference to the final day. He emerged reluctantly but alertly. So what I'm referring to there is that Phil has gone from being an asshole and has reluctantly given up like his selfishness and has become a better person. He's emerged alertly. He has emerged. So now he is a better person. He's more aware of the things around him and not just... He's aware of the things around him and not just himself.
Yeah.
So he's emerged reluctantly but alertly.
Yeah.
In Punxsutawney, PA. So this awakening's only happened because it's February 2nd and he's stuck in Punxsutawney. Anywhere else it wouldn't have worked. It's just because he's here. It's a small town of 6,000 people plus the visitors.
Punxsutawney.
Da 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 da. Yeah.
USA.
So in Punxsutawney, PA. So what is it again? It's prognosticators. Has emerged reluctantly but alertly
at 7:20 a.m. in 30 seconds in Punxsutawney, PA, and stated in Groundhog Ease.
Yeah.
I definitely see a shadow.
So he gives a speech at the end of the film that when Chekhov said. So he starts talking about the significance of the shadow. In this here, we're supposed to see, no, this is bad. It's like, oh, no, he's seeing the shadow. Winter is never going to end, blah, blah, blah. We're supposed to be pessimistic. But when when Phil Connors emerges, he's reluctantly and alertly, he does see his shadow, but he sees a good thing because it means they get to spend more time together with the people around him, the people he loves, if you will.
Hey, Randy, you know what you should do? Go back and listen to our podcast from like episode 10 when we said that shit.
I know, but now I'm grabbing
more evidence. Oh, you're adding more.
I'm adding. It's like
scholarly textual evidence.
Exactly. That's what I've been slowly changing. It's just not this week because this week I don't remember watching the movie. And I've been slowly doing a close reading.
Do me a favor. Look at that screenshot and look at in the background at that fucking guy in the groundhog fur suit and how creepy he looks.
Oh, don't worry. He was gonna too many cook it up in my RPG, depending on where you went, how bad things got. But yeah, that's basically the sum of my argument. That's what I remember of it. So for that one, but there's like little things. Like I said,
I'll give you a B for your thesis statement.
Oh, don't worry. It's just me BSing right now. But like I said, I basically wrote down every single quote that refers in some way to time or a measurement of time or to a number. And yeah, I'm gonna have to break that down.
I need you to find 7, 20, and 30 for me now.
Oh, I'll probably have that. I'll watch that for the next one. I'm just checking something out. No, he doesn't.
Again, Nancy's not in that crowd shot.
Interesting though, it's like you said 7, 20, and 30. When he does the countdown with the robbery, 7 is one of the numbers that he skips. 20 does appear multiple times, but I can't be sure of that one. Oh yeah, I could have returned at half pay after 20 years. So that's a repetition of a number. And I don't see the 30 again. But like I said, it's like that's not the important part. But it's So other little thing I'm gonna pull out that have nothing to do with the actual numbers, just little foreshadowing moments. Is that let's go back to the date scene we were talking about earlier. What it's like. Yeah. So they do all the things to get to the rocky road, and when they say rocky road, that indicates how the date is going roughly right now. That it's the date is currently still rocky. It's not perfect yet. He hasn't mastered it at that point.
That's right.
So that's just it's like because they very clearly go Rocky Road, and
have
it's like
you
okay.
Ever heard the song Rocky Road to Dublin?
Yes, I have.
Maybe there's something in there that predicts it, huh? Why not?
Maybe there are things. So there was something you wanted to talk about, but I forgot what it was.
I had two stupid comments. If you want to look at the Discord, one of them was just like, for some reason, I'm just really digging for content. Is I was really thinking, what if, like, this is 1993, and as you know, the Fox show Family Guy came out in, I believe, 99?
Yeah, 99.
And could have been earlier, but anyway.
That's an arbitrary measurement of time between the airing of this movie and the TV show. They have nothing to do with each other. Though it is the number 6.
Oh, and
which is, as I've learned from numerology, is a perfect number.
And for some reason, that scene when Phil's talking to Rita in the cafe, and he says to her.
Also, lean towards the mic.
And he says to her, I can't remember, but she says to him, oh, yeah, whatever. She says, oh, Phil. And he says, and Gus turns around and says, what, Phil? Like Groundhog Phil? Phil? Like the Groundhog Phil? And I was just like thinking, like, it kind of sounds like a Family Guy joke where Peter Griffin would turn around and go like, wait, Phil? Like the Groundhog Phil? Hey, watch out for you shatter there, pal. Yeah.
It's almost like that time that... Now what's
oh
your
Family
Guy cutaway?
The Family Guy cutaway is like, hey, do you remember the time? Like, it has to be a time loop thing. Do you remember the time we were driving on those train tracks?
No, actually...
Hey, do you remember that time we were driving on those trains?
No, if you wanted the loop, you'd say, Puxatawny Phil. It's almost like that time. It's like I heard your name and I connected it with Puxatawny Phil, and then you cut back and it just does that loop like, over and over again.
Hey, Phil, like the Groundhog Phil. Wait, watch out for your shadow there, pal. Yeah.
Larry emerges from a stump and tells the old lady.
Scroll up a little bit.
I know. I was just putting that, and then I also.
And you read it wrong earlier too.
I read it.
Cadence was off.
Yeah, but that's because you don't put any.
Scroll up a little bit. It was very.
No, you did the Family Guy thing. I asked you, does the hallway ghost remind you of an anthropomorphized groundhog?
He's very portly.
I said something about
he reminds me of? He reminds me of Newman from Seinfeld. A little bit. Wayne Knight.
Yeah, no, you didn't send me anything else.
Okay.
Though you did just realize that If I Had My Time Again would have been the good date.
Yes! I'm so stupid that in all this time, I never realized that, like, from the Groundhog Day, the musical, so for a long time I've been complaining that we never get to see Phil and Rita's date when he's like, I'm a god, I know everything that's gonna happen. She's like, oh, well, I should follow you around then, Phil. And then we just cut to them at night in the hotel room throwing cards.
So this is what they do, and that's a really
I'm like,
good
wait
song.
a second, I wanted to see that whole like date where he predicts everything all over the town, but we don't get to see it, and it's bad writing and bad cinematography.
They may have just been simply trying to cut the film down. It's like, okay, we're tired of Bill Murray.
So 140 in like 1993, 23, 2013. In like 26 years, two guys are going to watch this 52 times. We can't make it longer than 140.
Yeah.
Harold Ramis. Thank you, Harold Ramis, for making this 140. But anyway, we don't get to see the Rita date.
I got a dumb question for you. Were we supposed to be 20 minutes or 25 minutes?
20?
Well, we're at 25 minutes.
All right. So I'll finish it up here. So
and then I'll do my crapping on IMDb.
We don't get to see the Rita date, but in the Groundhog Day the musical, we get to. I was just like,
had my time again.
Yeah, the song that Phil and Rita sing towards the end is like, "Bam, if I had my time again, I would do it all the same."
We should do a bonus episode with us just singing the songs.
All the songs.
Oh God, no! Only the good songs.
But I just realized like that's the date that they had during that day when they're like, they're doing all these things and they go to they're getting hot dogs and stuff, and then they end up going to the Tilt-A-Whirl at the amusement park. I'm like, I would have liked to see that in this movie. That would have been quite a good, dare I say, a romantic comedic scene.
I know, we're watching a romantic comedy, but there's not much romance and or comedy.
Because the female lead can't remember anything that happened in the last 24 hours.
Or does she, because she's the snow angel?
Mm-hmm. I wanted to see something else about ice, but I can't remember what it was now. So maybe next week. Tell us your story about IMDb.
So yeah, it's like IMDb is such a source of great stuff. So earlier, before we started watching the movie again, parts of it just to find that line, I was going through the quotes.
Movie again, I would do it all the same. Sorry, go on.
You do watch this movie again, and you do it all the same, and you do it the same format every week.
Okay.
Which is why we didn't do our watching of Groundhog Day this week, which was absolutely forgettable, by the way. But no, what? So there's that scene that's dubbed over in the movie where, where on the first day they travel down the interstate and are stopped by a state trooper.
The first February 2nd.
Yeah. And they're stopped by a state trooper.
Who has
a
voice dubbed over.
But somebody is wrong on the internet. So the quote is, "Commander, what's going on here?" And it says from Phil. And then in reply, they wrote the name of the state trooper as Groundhog Official. I am sorry, sir. He is clearly a state trooper turning around traffic.
So this leads me to believe that the person who wrote this on IMDb believes that somebody who is like in a club of Groundhog fans has the power to shut down highways.
Like I said,
have you ever left your room, sir?
It was Harold Ramis, and we're just crapping all over him.
Wow.
Right,
he's just like, yeah, actually, in Punxsutawney, they do have the power to shut down highways.
The kicker is the proper quote. It's the exact same thing, but they wrote earlier, "Phil, hey, Commander, what's going on here?" And then it goes, "State Trooper. There's nothing going on here. We're closing the road. Big blizzard moving in."
That's stupid.
So it's nothing... twice. It's on there twice. And somebody's a Groundhog Official.
But think about that. There's nothing going on here. We're closing the road. We're closing the road is a thing going on.
What blizzard? It's a couple of flakes. Don't you listen to the weather. We got a major storm here. I make the weather. All this moisture coming out of the Gulf is going to push off to the east and hit Altoona. Pal, you got that moisture on your head.
Randy,
which is something I've been saying to people when they was like, "Pal, you got some moisture on your head."
You got it wrong. You also got it wrong because in the original shot of that, he's like, "Pal, you got that moisture on your head." But then they're like, that voice doesn't fit the state trooper. We got to dub him over.
Yeah. So with that thought, folks, that we have confirmed that there are wrong people on the internet. We're done. Another long episode for some reason when we didn't have much to talk about, but at the same time we did.
It's the way the show goes, and I'm looking at that scene right now that we're frozen on, and there's no Nancy in that crowd. No Nancy in the.
Where's Waldo?
Where's Nancy? Where's Nancy? That should be our thing. Well, we tried it, but we figured out she's not even there. The actress ain't there.
Yeah, because in the actual shot that it would be from the initial one, she would have been on the other side of the gazebo because that's where he's coming around from.
Why the fuck?
But in this shot, she's not here.
But why would she be standing there when she can't see the fucking groundhog from there?
Maybe she was waiting for somebody. I don't know.
She's just stupid.
I don't know. So, like I said, this is going on for too long. I'm done.
If I had my time again, I would do it all the same.
So wait, would you be singing? Who would be the Phil if we have to sing for all of it?
Make a couple of changes. Goodbye,
everybody.
My time